What's up, guys? This is Mike Loris, and I think I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I saw a post on Reddit where someone said that they were going to cast a game strictly for newer players, and I figured, hey, this is the International. This is where lots of newer players are going to get their first taste of Dota 2, so I might as well do something similar to that. And yes, I did steal your idea, and I'm doing it for myself, but I did it first. So if you are new to Dota, then you would want to watch this. If you are a veteran, I'm still going to try to cover the action of this game, although the analysis and other stuff not quite going to be there. So right now, this is the picking screen. This is where the two teams are going to choose which heroes they're going to play or prevent the other team from playing for the remainder of this game. The bottom side, it is Team Zenith. That is a team from Singapore, plus Loda. I don't know, he's from somewhere in Europe, but that's Team Zenith. And then on top we do have LGD. LGD is a very solid Chinese team. But so far, what happens is the banning phase. Now, in the banning phase, it's basically where teams say, we don't want to play or be playing against any of these heroes. So Chen, Nagasiren, Nature's Prophet, Leshrac, Brewmaster, and the Invoker are all banned out, so they can't be picked for this game. Zenith got the first pick, and they picked up Rubik. So Rubik is typically played as a supporty kind of, he's a utility support hero. So Zenith has picked that up as their first pick. And the way the picks goes is that Zenith gets to pick 1, LGD gets to pick 2, Zenith gets to pick 2, and then LGD gets to pick 1 more up here. And then they have, some more bans, and then they get to round off their picks. Actually, if you look at this timeline kind of thing, it tells you pretty much exactly what happens during this phase of the game. But this phase is, no action happens, so I guess you could say it's a little bit boring, but this is where the strategy comes in. You can see already LGD dipping into the reserve time. You get like 30 seconds to make your picks, and then 130 to actually have as extra time to allocate however you want, whether you want to think about your bans or think about your picks. You do have extra time to do that. But this is where the strategy comes in. This is where teams think, hey, should we go for a very ganking heavy lineup and try to just kill them a whole bunch of times? Should we go for a heavy pushing lineup? Should we just try to not prioritize kills, but instead try to take down very important structures? Or should we just go for a turtling build, like not try to kill them, just wait until the late game and then we're going to kill them then? Really, that's where the big decisions come in. Right now, LGD kind of do something a little bit unconventional. They're taking their sweet-ass time. They're running out of reserve time. But there we go. They do have one pick in the Darkseer and another pick in the Morphling. So their strategy is a little bit revealed with this Morphling pick. Morphling is what is referred to in the Dota 2 world as the carry hero. He's a hero who you want to have a lot of gold, you want to have a lot of experience, because late game he's just going to kill everyone, and it's really hard to stop him if he gets to that point. Darkseer, similar to Rubik, a more supporty, utility-oriented hero who really is going to be helping his teammates do a whole lot of things rather than do much of it himself. But we do have some more picks coming out. It's going to be the Lone Druid, who has a pretty interesting mechanic. If you are coming from League of Legends, hell, I guess I'll kind of also cater this video to you as well. I don't really have anything prepared. I'm just going on the fly for all of this. But Lone Druid is a very similar hero to the Morphling in the sense that you want to have a lot of experience, a lot of gold on him, because of his skill called Summon Spirit Bear. He basically gets another hero that he could control. It doesn't have the same abilities or anything like that, but for all intents and purposes, it's a very powerful unit that he could control, and it's just his buddy for the whole game. Zenith also are going to pick up another hero. It's the Chaos Knight. He's kind of similar to the Morphling as well. So Zenith, with these two picks right here, they are signifying that they want to have some sort of a greedy lineup. They want to get a lot of farm on them, so they're okay waiting to the late game. And if you are a complete noob in Dota, then I realize that much of this won't really make sense to you until we actually jump into the game. So I guess you could skip ahead if you really have no interest in this, but for everyone else, hell, why not? So Zenith is going to pick up a very experienced and gold greedy lineup. They do have some stuns, they do have some disables, which is very important because you don't want people to run away. LGD has picked up a Queen of Pain, who's a caster. She does pretty high burst damage. But Zenith so far, with the disables that they have, it's very good against the lineup of LGD so far. Because LGD, all three of these heroes are pretty good at escaping. This guy has a skill that makes him run really fast, this guy has a skill that just gets him out of trouble, and so does this person. And if you could keep them stunned, then, well, they can't cast anything because they're stunned. But anyway, that is the end of the first pick phase, as you could actually see on this timeline. First bans have done, first picks are done, second set of bans are underway, and we have a couple more bans coming out. None of these bans are really surprising. Usually see the relatively similar pool of heroes in the ban pool for the first three, and then for the second two bans, it really hinges upon what the other team has picked up for their first three picks. Like if you see the other team picking up 3 support heroes for the first 3 picks, well then you want to get rid of the carries, the damage dealers, because that's most likely what they're going to be aiming to pick up when the second pick phase does commence. Tidehunter and Enchantress not going to be in this game, so they're going to join the ban pool. And once the game actually gets going, this ban pool ceases to really have any importance. The ban phase is really just important for actually selecting which heroes you want to play and which heroes you don't want the enemy to play.
5 seconds remaining.
Not much going on here actually, so I think, well, trying to think of any other important facts. Okay, I guess I'm just going to go into regular analysis. LGD do have their hard lane, which is the lane where the tower is a lot farther away. And they are going to most likely stick the Darkseer there. They do have their carry set up and their solo mid lane in the Queen of Pain. It's usually put into that solo mid lane, not because she's a caster. If you're a LoL player, that's usually the AP mid lane. But she doesn't really have that lane because of that. It's because she does have a lot of burst damage, but she's also extremely mobile, so she could go and control the runes. Zenith, on the other hand, they're set up for the late game, like 100%. Between the Lone Druid and the Chaos Knight, they have carry everywhere. They could carry so many things, so many places. And the Rubik is a little bit of a support hero as well. So what Zenith is going to look towards is a little bit more early game oriented as far as their picks go. Rubik and CK is a pretty solid team lane lineup. And then Lone Druid could be going pretty much anywhere because he's both a ranged hero and he has that summon with him. That is melee, so he has kind of a two attack styles going on there. Venomancer is going to be the pickup from Zenith, and LGD responding with the Earthshaker. So these heroes are both very supporty heroes. You will not see these two heroes with a lot of gold or experience at all. They're mostly going to be buying the wards, roaming around the map, looking for kills, and if they get a couple kills going, then they can get pretty big, get a couple of core items up. But usually they're seen with, just wards, a pair of boots, and then just a couple of stat boosting items, the really cheap ones. But these guys are going to ensure that the rest of their teammates do get what they need. They're going to be the ones sacrificing their own experience and gold income in exchange for experience and gold income for their allies. And usually that's what you want to do. It's better to have one person who's a little bit stronger and then really able to abuse the power that the hero has to offer for that specific point in the game. Some heroes are stronger in different periods of the game, like Morphling is stronger late game than he is early, whereas Lone Druid is strong early and late. Venomancer is very strong early, not very strong late, so you have that power dynamic going on there. Something that you don't really see in League of Legends is that most heroes could do pretty well early and pretty well late. Like there are a couple of distinctions. Caitlyn is said to be like a very early game oriented attack damage hero, where Vayne is like super turbo late game, or I don't really know what the consensus on that is, but it's something along those lines. But Zenith is going to pick up the Storm Spirit, and this guy has a huge initiation range, which means he could just get to the enemies from a very long distance, and if the enemies don't see him coming, then, well, the enemies are going to be in a lot of trouble. And LGD going to respond by picking up a final support hero, Shadow Shaman. He has a lot of disables, a decent amount of nuking power as well. Right now, the players are just being assigned who they want to play, and then once that happens, we're going to jump into the game, guys. So once again, if you are a LoL veteran and a Dota 2 noob, or if you are just a MOBA noob in general, I'm going to be trying to orient this cast towards you. I don't really have all that much prepared, so if anything is unclear, please let me know, and I'll do my best to either make a follow-up cast, or just, answer your questions through through typing, because typing is awesome. And here we go. So this is the map of Dota 2. Some things that you want to notice right off the bat is that there are 3 lanes. You have this bottom lane, which follows, as you can see on the mini-map over here. It just goes all the way down to the bottom right corner, and then it keeps going to the left, and then this is the Radiant base, and then that's the tour of the bottom lane. The mid lane is obviously pretty much the same thing, just it goes into a straight line right through the center of the map. And the top lane is the mirror image of the bottom lane. Kind of a similar thing going on here. Each lanes kind of behave a little bit differently, but for a beginner, it really doesn't matter all that much. Lone Druid has summoned his bear, and he is controlling that. So right now, Teal, the Lone Druid player, Loda, is controlling 2 units on the map. He's controlling both this guy down here, who he's not really moving right now, so he's not really controlling him. And he's also controlling this bear. He's running him around. He's just using him as a scout. So, something I probably should have mentioned is that the object of the game, the whole reason why everyone loves and plays this game, they want to get their heroes to be pretty powerful and then destroy this thing, the Dire's Ancient, if you're on the Radiant side. But if you're on the Dire side, you want to destroy this thing. So, the people who spawned over here, they want to make their way through these towers, destroy this, destroy this, and then destroy all these buildings, and then finally destroy this thing. Or you could also do it, through the bot lane or something like that. But the process of doing that involves going through the early game, going through the mid game, and then trying to get some items up, level up your character, and then actually have enough power to breach the base. I'm going to go over quickly how the heroes actually work, since we do have a pause, which is actually fairly convenient. So, right here is the experience bar. Once you fill that up, once you get 200 experience, you're going to make your guy turn into a level 2 hero, and then level 3, and then I think if you don't know how an experience bar works, then I don't know. It's pretty standard as far as lots of games go. Health pool, mana pool, and then all 4 skills that the hero has to offer. Each hero has 4 different skills. And sometimes heroes have a couple of blank boxes, which is because they have a couple of unique skills that are unique and behave in certain ways. Let's see if there's anyone. Oh, here we go, Morphling. So he has Waveform, he has Adaptive Strike, he has Morph Agility Gain, Morph Strength Gain, and Replicate. So he has a couple of extra skills there. But usually most heroes do have 4. So every time you level up, you get a skill point that you could choose to allocate. You could put it into whatever you want, and each skill does have 4 ranks. Then every time you rank up a skill, it gets a little bit stronger. You get more stun duration, you could get more damage, you could get a shorter cooldown, but sometimes you also make the spell a little bit more expensive when you do that. Something that's different in Dota than in League of Legends is the stat system. So right now we have there's 3 main stats. It is going to be Strength, Agility, and Intelligence. And each hero has a primary stat. You can see because the little fist has a yellow ring around it. This particular hero, the Chaos Knight, who I've selected right here, Boxium, Ice, Zenith, he's a Strength hero. So that means every time he gets a point of Strength, he also gets a point of damage. And then, yeah, that's basically how the primary stat system works. And Strength basically rules your health. If the more strength you have, the more health you have, the more hits you could take, the more spells you could take, and stuff like that. And of course, if you're a strength hero, the more strength you have, the more damage you have. Agility is mostly about the attack speed. The more agility you have, the faster you attack, the more armor you have also. I don't exactly know how that makes any sense, but it's been that way forever. And usually agility heroes are very carry-oriented, since the more agility they get, the faster they attack. So you're going to see heroes like the Morphling, you have the little cyclone thing circled with the gold, try to get a lot of agility. And then last but not least is the intelligence attribute, and the intelligence attribute determines how much mana you have, how fast your mana regeneration is, and if you are an intelligence-based hero such as the Darkseer, then every point of intelligence that you have does increase your damage by, well, exactly that amount. In the early stages of Dota 2, what you most of the time want to do is try to get as much farm as you can. And farm, what I mean by that is you want to kill these things. These things spawn from the base and just suicidally walk down the lane. And every time you get a last hit on these guys, then they drop money. And you want to get money because money, like in Dota, like in real life, makes the world go around. So we're going to see a couple of last hitting going on right now. He actually did something that's not exactly last hit. And you're not last hitting. Hi, HY. You have to cooperate with me, man. Get this last hit and just, god damn it, come on, killing me here. Let's see if, well, did he get it and I missed it? Okay. I'm going to explain everything he's doing right now. There we go. So he just killed that and you saw plus 41. So right now, this particular hero, being played by HY, is 41 gold richer, now another 41 gold richer, and he's just trying to build up as big of a bank as he can so he could buy some pretty big items. And he also killed his own units, and if the units are below half HP, then you can attack your own units, and if you manage to get the last hit of those, then that ensures that the enemy, for one, can't get the last hit, so you're denying them that opportunity, and they also get less experience from the creep dying. Every time a creep does die in your vicinity, then you do get a little bit of experience. You can see the Storm Spirit already level 2, so in the beginning you tend to level up extremely quickly. And he's going to hit level 3. There he is, level 3, and he's trying to kill this Morphling. He's very close to doing it. Morphling only had 90-something HP, but he's going to use one of the many regeneration items and get back to full health so that he doesn't die. Hopefully I could catch the first death in this game. But sometimes it's not always the case since there's a lot of action happening on the map. And I completely understand that if this is your first time, or one of your first times viewing Dota 2, that lots of shit is not going to make any sense. Like right here, what's going on right now is pretty complicated. Like, what is that purple spiky ball? Or what is this bear doing over here? And why is this guy at low health? Why isn't he actually getting, why isn't he going back and getting healed? Stuff like that. A lot of it has to do with the complexity of the heroes. This hero, Darkseer, the spiky thing that you see on him just does damage around him. And he could put it on different guys, so he's right now putting it on himself and using it to kill creeps. So just the way the heroes work allows him to do stuff like that, kill the entire creep wave. As opposed to that, we have Loda, the lone druid on the bottom lane. He's using his tower as a little bit of a protectionary area, and he's last hitting under that, so he's still getting creep kills, just a different way. The bear is helping him a little bit. Towers are one of the most important objectives in Dota 2. There's no dragon. There actually is some kind of replacement, but I'm going to get to that a little bit later, I'm sure. Towers, every time you kill a tower, you get a ton of gold for your team, and as I said before, gold is good. These towers do attack, and they do hurt quite a bit, so even though you might want to get a kill on a low health hero when they're chilling right next to their tower, you always got to be careful, because they could just sometimes turn around and kill your ass, and you don't want to get killed, because every time you die, you gotta wait for a respawn timer, and respawn timers suck. It doesn't matter what game you're playing. No one likes waiting to respawn, but also you lose gold, and that's doubly not good because gold is important. So right now we just have a little bit of a farming fest going on. Each team wants to get their core heroes as much gold as possible. You see a hero like X Freedom on the Venomancer, usually, pretty much always played as a support hero. He's only level 1 at this point in time. Whereas a different hero on the same team, Storm Spirit, is level 4, about to breach level 5. Storm Spirit just wandering around, picking up some of the runes, which are little bonuses that spawn either over here, and then if you follow the river down, you could also sometimes find them over here. And they just give you, little jumps of power for a short period of time. He got the Illusion rune, which is going to make a couple of copies of himself that do a little bit less damage, take a little bit more damage, but they look exactly the same to the enemy, so it could be used as kind of a mind game sort of thing. Like, is this an illusion or is this actually the real hero? And you're gonna have to make a decision on your own and hope you picked right, because you don't want to be nuking an illusion, because the illusions will simply just poof away if they get killed. And I just realized that I am way over my head. There is so much going on right now. I guess another point of speech to talk about are the observer wards in the game. And generally, when you don't have a hero or any friendly units, then you cannot see what's going on in that stage of the map. Like over here, everything's dark, and if there are heroes here, then no one will really know it unless you actually have vision of them. And if you the more wards you put down, like in League of Legends, the more vision you have, the more awareness you have of your enemies, and that means you're generally a lot safer. Right now, there's still no kills at all. It's kind of a slow game, but both teams kind of just content with last hitting, getting as many creep kills as possible, so that they could do a little bit better come the mid game when we get to like 15 minutes in, 16 minutes in. You see a lot of movement on the map. If you're coming from League of Legends, that's something you're gonna have to get a little bit used to. The lanes tend to not be as stagnant. Like, you don't have the AP mid chilling in the mid lane for like 10-15 minutes. You do not have the bruiser sitting up on the top lane with a teleport summoner spell. And usually there's a lot of mobility on the map. So that's why wards are just that important. You want to know where your enemies are at any given time, or else all of a sudden you have 4 enemy heroes on your ass and you don't have the health pool to survive everything that's throwing at you, and then you're dead and you're sad and you gotta respawn, and then your teammates are like, OMG, why are you dying, you're so noob, and then you cry and then you go home and you just cry into your sheets all night long, and then it's a horrible experience for everyone. So you don't want to die. I am, of course, exaggerating. No one does that in Dota. No. Community in Dota in-game, people get kind of intense about this game, because again, every time you do die, you give gold to the enemy heroes, and you also give them a whole bunch of experience, plus you lose gold. So one person can, in theory, single-handedly destroy the entire game for his buddies. And if you're playing, these games usually last, I would say, let's say 45 minutes. Then you don't want to waste all that time because some dumbass on your team decides to go look for the enemy ancient, even though it's always in the same spot. You know, they're just wandering through, getting a lot of creep damage, stuff like that. But still nothing really happening so far in this game. Just lots of last hitting. Lone Druid had a little bit of a makeover. That is his ultimate skill. Every time you get to level 6, 11, and 16, you can rank up a point of your ultimate, which is just simply a little bit more powerful of a spell. So your ultimate is usually a very important spell for the hero. It's usually a spell that defines the hero. Just like for Storm Spirit, it allows him to move very far in exchange for his own mana pool. HY, chilling right next to the Xiao 8 Darkseer. He's actually using him to block a little bit. He's going to disable the Darkseer, pull him back in to hopefully get the bear a little bit closer. You can see HY using that ball lightning, which is him just like moving, you know, he's zipping around. That's what people say. To actually try to disable him and try to get a kill on this guy, but he is simply way too tanky. He managed to walk away from that one. Something else to note is the color scheme that's going on. Everything green on the map that you see right now is property of the Radiant, and yeah, you don't wanna mess with the Radiant because they have a couple powerful heroes. And everything on the red is property of the Dire. Of course, there are a couple of different colors on the map. You have like the teal over here, and the blue and purple, and the orange and yellow. Each one of those corresponds to a different hero. So every time you play, you get randomly assigned, or yeah, you pretty much get randomly assigned a color based on which position you are. It's completely arbitrary. It doesn't make any difference at all as far as you guys are concerned. So just color corresponding to each particular hero. And something handy in Dota 2 is that we could check out and see what the gold situation looks like You can see on the bot lane, this guy, Xiao8, actually has a lot of gold income because he's constantly sending these shells down, and it's constantly killing creep waves very quickly. So he's going to have a lot of money real quickly, and then that'll allow him to buy whatever he wants. Usually Darkseer players tend to go for a very tanky build, try to get lots of health, lots of armor, damage block, stuff like that. But so far, 10 minutes in, no first blood. If I was commentating this regularly, I would be like bored out of my skull because nothing is happening at all. Lots of hero map movement, but nothing's really coming out of that. You can see that the lone druid, his ultimate form turns him into a melee bear, which makes sense since bears usually claw things. But also, as I said before, his spirit bear, his buddy, he has his own particular skills. He has a chance to disable when he attacks. He does a little bit more damage to buildings, and you could teleport the bear back to your original hero. But most importantly, the bear has its own 6 item slots. And that is, I realize, is something I did not cover. Item slots, you could have 6 items at any given time, except if you're lone druid, in which case you could have 12 because your spirit bear has 6. It's pretty cool. But basically, you want to have boots always. Boots make you run faster, and if you run faster, you don't die as much, and that's usually pretty good. Other than that, you have items that give you stats. You have a teleportation scroll, which lets you move around the map, and we now might have our first kill. There's a Fisher, and lots of nukes flying out, and this Ice character on the Chaos Knight might get the first blood. No, Freedom, the Venomancer, is going to get screamed down. That was the Queen of Pain ultimate, that giant red wave of death, and that just obliterated that Venomancer. They did pick up the Darkseer, but now XY, the Rubik, has got to be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, he's going to go down as well. Lots of action happening in a very short period of time. Yeah, it gets a little bit overwhelming. If you're a new player, if you don't know exactly what the spells do, then lots of the time you are going to be confused. It just takes a lot of getting used to. That's why I always recommend new players random. Because the more you random, the more familiarity you gain with each particular hero. You know what their capabilities are, you know how much damage they can put out, you know what their spells actually look like and how they function. So I always think that is a very good idea. But anyway, LGD picking up 2 kills. Let's actually see who got those 2 kills. We got one on Sylar and one on Yao. So yeah, the Queen of Pain is that caster hero that I talked about before. She does have that giant wave of death, which just does straight up damage in a cone. So lots of pain there. And of course, Sylar is the Morphling, the carry hero of LGD. If you could get kills on your carry hero, then that is just amazing. Because once again, every time your hero does get a kill or an assist, like do a little bit of damage to help out in a kill, he gets a little bit of gold for that, which is always nice. And you also get a little bit of experience. And the more gold you have on this guy right here, the Morphling, he can be extremely fearsome in the late game. With a couple of spells, he could pretty much 100-0 these soft heroes like X Freedom on the Venomancer. We already saw him get really melted down by that Queen of Pain ultimate.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So a lot of this, what's going on, is pretty much just farming. You can see Ice, the Chaos Knight manipulating the creeps a little bit, bringing them into this neutral camp, but now he's going to be in trouble. He's going to get hexed up and disabled, and now Ice cannot move. He's just going to get right-clicked down with the regular attacks of each of these heroes, and Queen of Pain, the nuker of the squad, releasing one last nuke, picking up the kill on the Chaos Knight. That is going to mean LGD takes a 3-1 lead. So they do have a little bit of a gold advantage right there. 1-3 in the long run isn't that much of a deficit. Teams have come back from worse. So it really gets bad when you're, like 7-10 kills behind. Then it starts looking bleak. But only 2 kills behind, it doesn't really matter that much, since you could usually make that up with just getting a couple more creep kills, getting a little bit more experience. However it is you get experience for your particular hero. And usually you could equalize that, get a couple of kills of your own maybe. Usually not that far behind. But we do see the Queen of Pain was on the top lane with the Shadow Shaman as support. So if you have more than one hero in an area, the experience will be split, but already she's level 8 compared to the Storm Spirit, who's also level 8, and he had solo experience. So Queen of Pain was getting pretty much half of the experience from her lane, and with those kills and the assists that she was involved in, she's already back up there to level 8. So she's doing pretty well for herself right now. It's very important to keep up in levels because, once again, as soon as you level, you get both a skill point to put into any one of your skills, make your spells a little bit stronger, and also you get a little bit of stat bonuses to each of your stats, usually like +2-ish kind of. They do go into the decimal, so it's like, oh, this hero gains 1.7 strength per level, and really it's good stuff to know, but it's not a necessity to actually know what everyone's stat growth is as they level up, at least for the newer players. Once again, if you're coming from LoL, then you're going to be, one of the most important things you're going to have to get used to is the fact that spells do not scale. There is no AP. So for example, we do have the spell called Chaos Bolt. It does a random amount of damage between now 100 and 275. There's no way really of making that do any more damage. It's not going to do any more damage than that. So spells, for all intents and purposes, what you see is what you get. Your spells aren't going to be doing more damage than advertised. Of course, there are some ways of actually getting a little more mileage out of your spells, but those are few and far between. There is an item that makes your ultimate a little bit stronger. Not for all heroes, though. Only certain heroes could actually pick it up and get an improved ultimate. But the lack of scaling is really, I feel, one of the largest differences between Dota and LoL. Is even this guy, Chaos Knight, you'd think that he's just he's a right clicker. He gets big, gets a lot of items, and then just kills people. But he doesn't have any scaling, not off of AP, not off of his AD. So all of his spells do not scale at all. Let's just put it at that. There is like some scaling involved. Like he has a skill that gives him critical strike, which of course will do more damage depending on how much damage he actually has. But usually it's very straightforward. Loda might now be in a little bit of trouble. He's trying to hide in the trees behind his tower, so he's going to put himself in as safe of a position as he possibly can. But there are 4 heroes now from the enemy side, and these circles do indicate that Zenith heroes are teleporting in to try to get a kill on the LGD heroes. Who's actually going to fall, if any? Xiao 8 is going to get stunned up, and there's the illusions being created by Ice Ice. Xiao 8 is slow to a crawl because of that green wave of death that the Venomancer spewed out, and now Xiao 8 is going to die from the last nuke by Rubik. That Fade Bolt just doing straight up damage. Always good. You can never say no to a straight up nuke. HY using his ball lightning skill once again to escape a gank. Generally in Dota, if you see an enemy hero with your hero, if you see more than one, then you're already dead. Like, there are exceptions. There's the Morphling, there is the Storm Spirit, there is the Queen of Pain, who have pretty high mobility spells. You have something like Blink, which lets you instantly teleport a short distance. That helps you survive. But heroes like Earthshaker, heroes like Shadow Shaman, heroes like Rubik or the Venomancer, it's very important to keep tabs on your opponents since you're a soft hero, you don't have any escape mechanisms, you don't have summoner spells that you could pull. Oh, and they're wasting a whole bunch of spells on an illusion. They're wasting a lot of spells on this illusion, and it just pooped away. So all of that time, all of that mana wasted. Got absolutely nothing out of that. So illusions, once again, they do take more damage, so it's usually important to identify what the illusions are, and therefore focus either the illusions. Sometimes you would, I don't know, sometimes I guess you would want to focus the illusions, just bring them down. Most of the time you want to identify which ones are the illusions so you could ignore them and focus on the main hero and actually get the kill. We're now going to see a tower being brought down, very straightforward. Chaos Knight with the illusions, killing the tower. And that is going to give Zenith a little bit of gold to every one of their heroes. Unfortunately for them, they already lost their tier 1 in the mid tower, which is where their mid tier 1 tower was, kind of reflecting this tower right here, is, you know, across this river. And they also lost their tier 1 on the bottom lane, which they responded by taking the tier 1 bottom of LGD's side. So they also took the top tower. I completely missed that. Too busy explaining stuff. But anyway, each team has taken out 2 of the towers of their opponents. That is going to mean that the gold is pretty equal. The farm on both sides relatively equal. When you're at this caliber of play, you're not going to miss last hits. You're going to get the last hit on every single creep, or almost every single creep, if you're given the opportunity. So both teams are doing pretty well as far as that goes. The experience earned is a little bit in favor of Zenith, which means that they will tend to have a couple more levels on their heroes. Again, it's not a insurmountable difference by any means. Something that LGD can very well come back from. Now LGD, their next objective on the list is to take out this tower right here. Unless we see a lot of teleportation circles coming in, Zenith is not going to be able to defend this. This tower is as good as dead. They use a little bit of an ability there. Fortify, and actually both teams use Fortify. They're going to make a trade, 1-for-1 tower. The Fortify timer is right over here. That does grant your every single building of your particular faction, whichever one you're aligned with. Blue, purple, teal, orange, yellow are on the Radiant, and pink, whatever color this is, some like pale green color. Dark green and brown and light blue are on the Dire. We might see another engagement. There's a long initiation range coming from HY. Now Yao is getting right-clicked down a whole lot. You see another one, another giant wave of death coming out from Rubik. I'm going to explain that in just a little bit, but a lot of death is happening. Fade Bolt flying out one more time. They want Xiao 8 dead. Are they actually going to get him? Yes, they are. They do have enough damage to kill him. DD is the last one alive, and he's might be in a little bit of danger as well. But he gets a ward trap on HY, and HY is going to be in a little bit of trouble. But he still has a mobility spell. XY is going to die to this tower hit though. One more tower. No! Wow, that was an amazing play by XY. Okay, if you know what's going on, if you know how to play Dota, then you know what just happened. That was absolutely insane. If you don't, let me explain. There's an item called Smoke of Deceit, which makes you invisible. But if you get near a tower, or if you get near an opponent, or if you start attacking, then you lose invisibility. So he used that to dodge the last hit of the tower that definitely would have killed him. If you are coming from League of Legends, something that is pretty awesome, Riot, I'm sure, would definitely deem an unfun mechanic, is Rubik's ultimate called Spell Steal. He could take the last spell of an enemy and use it for himself. That is why we saw the Queen of Pain's ultimate fly out, the Sonic Wave. And then Rubik stole it, and now he has a Sonic Wave of his own. Of course, that doesn't last forever. It'll last for 3 minutes until he, for either 3 minutes or until he dies. But you can steal big ultimates like that, and when you do, the effects most of the time are devastating. So just a couple of different mechanics that you will not really see in LoL. Venomancer actually is pretty different as well. It does have these venomous plague wards, which you can spit out pretty much everywhere. They do have quite a large sight radius. Like, these guys see from pretty far, except for when they're blocked by trees. You can just spam them and they do a little bit of damage. So, I guess it would be Heimerdinger's turrets if they were on a 5-second cooldown and costed only 20 mana. But once again, they don't scale, so that's a little bit different that way. Kind of hard to draw comparisons from LoL to Dota heroes because generally they tend to be fairly different. Props to Riot for that. Like, come on, S2. The developers of Heroes of Newerth, who pretty much copied Dota for their first, I don't even know how many heroes. It was fun to play because that felt like Dota 2, but this is the real Dota 2 right here. They're going to find another illusion. They're going to waste a whole bunch of spells on it. Of course, now they do know that that's an illusion. They're not going to fall for that again. Big item now coming up on load. He got a Radiance, which is one of the most expensive items. It just does damage in an AoE. So think of it as a Sunfire Cape if you're a LoL player. A Sunfire Cape plus damage. It's very expensive because it does a ton of damage. Heroes in Dota tend to be a lot more fragile than in League of Legends. I'm just going to cast regular Xiao 8, gets telekinesis into the air. Yao drops a beautiful ultimate, hitting a lot of people. Echo Slam from DDC, doing a lot of damage as well. The wall of replica is dropped, but no one's actually running through that. XY is trying to hide in the woods. He's going to get shotgunned down by Sally, who does have a Lincoln Spear up. The DDC did get right-clicked down by Ice, but he is very low. The waveform in from Sally is going to pick up that kill. HY might be in a little trouble as well. Yao with the final Scream Pain picking up the Venomancer. HY is going to take another Adaptive Strike, and the right clicks from Sally might be a little bit too strong. Bottle is not going to be enough to keep him alive, and now Loda is He's the only one from Team Zenith who is still alive. Xiao 8 is chasing him. He wants this kill. Loda is going to try to hide in the trees, but Xiao 8 spots him out, and Loda is not long for life. Waveform in by Sylar one more time, plus a vacuum, and an Adaptive Strike to cap off that kill. A 5-for-0. There was a couple buybacks, actually, but a 5-kill team wipe going the way of LGD. They just got 5 very, very easy kills, and they managed to defend their Tier 3 towers. Whew. So, you're going to be hearing a lot of that if you choose to continue watching Dota 2. A lot of spell names being dropped off, a lot of hero names being dropped off, a lot of player names being dropped off. And once again, it can be pretty overwhelming. You know, Waveform, Sonic Wave, Telekinesis, what are all these spells? But that, again, is something that you will get used to as you watch more and more games. Heroes tend to be favored pretty heavily in games, specific heroes. So, for example, you're going to learn what Darkseer does pretty quickly. Wall of Replica. You're going to learn what Venomancer does pretty quickly. It's pretty straightforward as well. We're going to see another engagement. Fisher going on. HY with the Black King Bar, just zipping everywhere, doing a lot of damage with that spell. The Morphling is getting completely permastunned. Ice. Also has a BKB of his own. He's trying to get Sylar, but they do manage to bring down Roshan. And Morphling has picked up an Aegis, so that is going to give him an extra life if he dies. Ice is actually blocked by the Venomancer ward, so he cannot chase Yao. Yao is going to walk out of this. DDC trapped in this corner, however. I don't know if he has Zenith. Do know that he's there. So DDC, you are so very dead, sir. You just better run. Telekinesis up. And now Ice with the Chaos Ball doing enough damage to kill that hero. Now we do see a little bit of a timer thing going on. If you are a LoL player, then what just happened is that they went for Roshan. Roshan is the Baron equivalent, I guess you could say. And when you kill him, your whole team gets a little bit of gold. But more importantly, he drops an item called the Aegis of the Immortal. And if you're holding onto that and you die, then you just wait a couple seconds, and then you're right back in the game. You just resurrect, and then you continue going on your merry way, either to escape or just kill everyone. But so far, the game has been picking up a little bit. Several fights going on, and if you don't know what's going on in the fights, just appreciate the effects that are going on, and listen to the commentators, because commentators will tell you how good the spell placement is, if they're being used effectively, if they're wasting spells on a particular hero who, might already be dead just from one more auto attack, and they're burning high damage spells on him. And yeah, if you just pay attention to that, you should get a decent idea how the team fights are going. And then of course you could always look up here, the portraits gray out, and they do have a timer right underneath their portrait for each hero, so that is usually a pretty good indication on how well the fights are going. Sylar, the Morphling, has got a lot of items. He has 162 creep kills at this point, so he got 162, well, I guess 163 now, last hit, so he is pretty darn wealthy. He has 449 gold per minute, and that is quite a lot for a carry hero, so he's starting to do a lot of damage. 112 agility, and that's 100 and almost 200 damage a pop, coming out very quickly. So this Morphling is very dangerous at this point. Zenith, their hard carry is Loda. His bear, where's his bear? Get over here, bear. Does have that Radiance, which is a pretty expensive item, but he doesn't have as much as the Morphling. He's just like 30 gold per minute behind as the Morphling, actually picking up another kill. I completely missed that. Ice got killed once again by a whole bunch of heroes. And now we see that even though the heroes were kind of hesitant to get near the towers in the early stages of the game, at this point, LGD has enough power to just completely bowl through towers, and they're going to do that on this top lane. The Serpent Wards can do a little bit of extra damage. That is the ultimate of this hero, the Shadow Shaman. And they want this tower down. Once you kill the towers, then these barracks become available to attack. And I'm going to hold off on that for just a little bit. HY zipping in, looking for someone to get, but he's going to take a lot of damage in return. Vacuuming in Loda, and his bear is also very weak. Does he have another bear up? Yes, he does. Fisher going out from the Rubik's he spell stole that Fisher. HY blinking right back in with the BKB, so he's immune to magic for the moment, but he's out of mana, so he cannot do anything else. And looks like LGD is just going to retreat. But anyway, once you kill the tower, the tier 3 tower, then these things become available to attack. And if you're a LoL player, you know the concept of this. These are basically your inhibitors, except they do not respawn. So once you kill this, then your creeps in that corresponding lane become a lot stronger. Kill the melee barracks, and your melee creeps become a lot stronger. You kill the range barracks, then these guys become a lot stronger, and that means that they'll constantly be pushing down this lane, and they also give up less bounty. So barracks, if you're running the pushing lineup that I said before, your aim is to get a barracks very, very early, and then ride that advantage all the way to the end of the game. Right now, 13-10, so the kills favor Zenith, but the gold advantage is still very low. Well, there's 0 gold advantage for either team, there's 0 experience advantage for either team. So right now the game is pretty equal. On the surface it would seem pretty equal. Once again, Sylar, the Morphling player, does get very strong in the late game compared to his buddies, and he does have the majority of the gold on his team. So the way the farm is distributed will favor LGD moving forward. And farming is basically the term to describe getting last hits and getting as much gold as you can. So if you're farming, you're doing this, what the Lone Druid's doing right now, just killing creep waves, getting money, making a living through killing. It's a very good option for these guys, since I don't know what these heroes would be doing if they weren't contracted to kill things. Kind of a recession in the world of Dota 2. Everyone would be homeless and stuff like that. Will kill for food, stuff like that. A pretty big item to come up, and an item that you will see very frequently is this Black King bar. If you are a League of Legends player, then the best way to describe this is an item that lets you cast Morgana's Black Shield on yourself. So you'll be completely immune to magic for first 10 seconds, and the next time you use it it'll be 9 seconds, and then the next time it'll be 8, all the way down to 5 seconds. So Black King bar does make you immune to spells, which does make you very durable, since, well, nukes can't do anything to you, flat spell damage won't do anything to you, and you can't be stunned, you can't be disabled in any way, you can't be slowed, except for a couple of rare exceptions, but for the most part, you have 10 seconds or 8 seconds or whatever of just complete freedom to do as you want. It's a very big item to pick up, and it's a very common item pickup that you will see quite often in these games. Zenith, you could see, have all 5 of their heroes positioned in this mid lane. Now they're going to split up just a little bit. I think they're thinking of going to try to kill Sylar, but once again he still does have the Aegis of the Immortal. Reincarnation must be used within 10 minutes or Aegis of the Immortal disappears, so he still has that for another 3 minutes-ish. So Sylar has 2 lives. He has a waveform which does let him move very large distances with just a single spell cast, and he has a whole bag of tricks other than that. Now we see a whole bunch of LGD heroes. They're going to go onto Ice Ice Ice, instantly disable. Ice 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 is not moving anywhere, and the damage from LGD is enough to just pretty much instantly kill him. They're going to go for the tier 2 tower on the bottom lane. Tier 3 is right here, tier 2 is right here, and then a little bit farther down the lane, this is where the tier 1 was. Map, once again, I understand everything is a little bit overwhelming, but hopefully I'm helping at least a little bit to kind of get you some understanding as to how the game flows. Some games will have a lot of action in the early game, some games will just have a lot of action late. It really depends on how the individual teams like to play, what heroes they pick up, and usually the heroes that they pick up will kind of reflect their team's style. But LGD was content with just letting Sylar farm, and now some pretty big items up, so he's going to be doing a lot of damage, hitting like a truck, and not just like an ordinary slow truck, like hitting like a multiple truck, hitting like several trucks in a short period of time. That was like the most horrible way to put that, but he's doing a lot of damage. This Morphling character is not to be trifled with at this point. And you can see right now LGD just chilling around. They're just killing neutrals. Neutrals are creeps that spawn in the jungle. It's not actually jungle, it looks more foresty actually, but it's what it's called. And they just like spawn periodically, and they are basically there to be killed.
Haste.
You kill them, you get a little bit of gold, you get a little bit of experience, just like any of these creeps right here. And the more jungle creeps you get, the richer you get as well. So you could either choose to focus your attention on the jungle creeps, or the also known as the neutral creeps, or you can choose to try to farm in a lane And depending on the circumstances, it might go either way. I'm going to commentate this one normally. Xiao 8 instantly stunned, and he's taking a lot of damage, but the mech gets popped off. HY is trying to do enough damage, but Sylar is just standing his ground and right-clicking this Storm Spirit. Storm Spirit might be in a little bit of trouble. Ice's bet BKB has worn off. 4-second stun on DDC. He is going to go down. HY zipping in for the last hit on that, but Yao is here with BKB as well. Sylar just standing his ground. He has not moved very much at all. Disable onto Freedom. He's going to get taken down by that Morphling. And now HY doing a lot of mana to zip back in, but Sylar just continuing to just stand there and kill everything. The Sonic Wave has gotten stolen, but Sylar with so much durability as the Morphling, he doesn't give a shit. Yao is still here as well. Yao now out of mana, but it doesn't matter because everyone from Zenith is dead. Only 2 down from LGD, and that extends their lead. Well, kind of, I guess, their first time or second time. They will have the kill lead, 15-16. And with all 5 heroes dead, those timers, it may not seem like a lot of time, but 10 seconds might be all LGD needs to actually take down this tier 2 tower. Now with these heroes, they don't really have that much punching power. They can't really bring down this tower very quickly, but they'll try. They might actually get it. And they are going to get it, because Sylar got back into this fight. Sylar does the most damage by far out of anyone on LGD. So if you have a good team fight, that usually opens up quite a lot of possibilities. You could either get Roshan, who's right here. You're probably going to see LGD try to kill him in relatively short order. If you could take down towers, you could take down several towers. You could even slide up and take a barracks if they're available to hit. Once again, you do have to kill the tier 3 towers, which are the towers right at the edge of the base. 4 of those are actually hittable, punchable, attackable. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now we see both teams moving towards Roshan. Roshan does spawn in 10 minutes. So they took note of when Roshan died, and now they know that, well, each team kind of want to get their hands on that juicy Aegis of the Immortal. Because once you have that, you could play a lot more aggressively. You have a lot more freedom to do things that otherwise you would get severely punished for. Roshan just be chilling. He's scared though, you could tell. He doesn't want to die. Darkseer going for pretty tanky items, as they normally do in Morphling. He's picked up a butterfly. This is like the holy item of agility heroes. It gives you so much attack speed, so much damage, plus evasion, which means that every time you're attacked, you have a chance to dodge that attack, and it does absolutely nothing. Very useful item for agility heroes, and now he's hitting at almost 300 a pop. HY trying to get in to initiate, but he's taking so much damage. He might even go down before this even gets going. Yao, with the right clicks, might be able to do him in. X-Freedom does drop on the ultimate. Ice just standing delivering onto Xiao 8. Xiao 8 does go down, but Sylar is still alive and very a He's just going to hold his ground, try to go for Ice. Echo Slam is going to slow them down. 3-second stun onto Sylar. Going to hold him out for a little bit, buy Ice a little bit of time, but the double kill has already happened. Morphling with Waveform, picking up a triple kill, looking for a quad. He's actually not going to find it. Loda is a little bit too fast because, bears be moving quickly. But once again, 3 heroes down from Zenith, only 1 down from LGD, and they are going to take this opportunity to, well, they're not actually going to go for Roshan. Roshan is pretty strong, so you need either to gear up specifically to kill him, and there's items that kind of are oriented to killing Roshan, or you could just have so much brute force and have all your buddies there and then just kill them that way. But the gold advantage is slowly slipping away from Zenith. We now see the gold earned going towards the way of LGD, 7,500 towards them. Experience almost 10,000 as far as that goes. So LGD is looking very strong this game. Zenith does not have enough damage in the fights. They're simply too soft compared to this Morphling. And I'm making this Morphling out to be kind of like Superman, but I don't want to take anything away from the rest of his team. The support from the Shadow Shaman, the space that Morphling was bought to actually get all of that farm up, that was all due to his team. So the Dota is very much a game of teamwork, and you will not find better teamwork than in the teams invited to the International too. Zenith and LGD, huge amounts of teamwork. Just using their heroes to buy space for other heroes, control space, and just prevent ganks, protecting your important heroes, stuff like that. Zenith, although they are behind, they're not totally out of it. XY, 4-staff in, doing telekinesis Yao, 2-second stun, Ice needs the BKB to be popped, but he's taking so much damage regardless. Ice is unable to move, he's gonna go down. Yao gonna blink away. XY, not enough mana to actually breach the high ground, he's gonna Fisher block. Morphling picking up a double kill right there. Sylar gonna try for a triple kill. It's not gonna happen. Oh, it might happen. Blink forward from DDC. They still do see Loda. DDC does have a surge on him. That is a supporting spell from Darkseer. Makes him move very quickly. Fisher onto him, gonna stun Loda, and now he's gonna get vacuumed back in. Sylar is here with the damage. This bear is very tanky, but he is not invulnerable, and he is gonna go down to the Darkseer. Another very good fight for LGD. They're just snowballing so hard right now. If Zenith take a good fight, they're right back in this game. But so far, it's not looking like a good fight is actually an option for them. They're just getting shut down at pretty much every turn. Not many options are available to them. They're taking so much damage from this Morphling. It's doing like 310 a pop. It's scary at this point. It's 310 damage. He himself only has 1400 health, so you could do the math there. It's a substantial amount of damage that comes out very quickly. So yeah, does it have any attacks per second? Yeah, 0.41 seconds per attack. So that's a lot of damage. And Zenith, not tanky enough to actually survive that, let alone kill this Morphling. And this Roshan is going to take a fall, and now the Sylar has 2 lives. He has that Aegis the Immortal. He sold something. I don't know what he sold, but there's a shop right here. Yeah, as far as shopping mechanics go, kind of standard. You got your basic items, you got your recipe items, and you have additional shops in the middle-ish area of the map. There's one on the Dire side right here, and if you follow the mini-map, there's one on the Radiant side right here. They do sell the same things. They sell different items that you cannot pick up in the main base shop. If you're asking why the shops are like this, I have no idea. They've just been like that for as long as I can remember. Ice is going to teleport out. Goodbye. Going back to his base with his buddies. That is going to save him from dying, because all of LGD was there. And now Sylar just continuing to farm. He's picked up his own Black King bar that will make him magic immune for 10 seconds as the first charge of it. And the smoke now gonna put everyone on the LGD side invisible, make them move a little bit faster, and the visibility won't dispel unless they get near an enemy hero, or unless they attack something. And they actually are going to find the Spirit Bear. This is the summon of the Lone Druid, and the Spirit Bear is going to just get killed so badly. Poor bear, he never stood a chance. And you can see that LGD do value the bear on the Lone Druid just as highly, if not more highly, than the actual hero, because the bear was holding some pretty valuable items, and the bear is unable to be summoned for another 39 seconds, 38. So for another 30 seconds, all the farm the Lone Druid has had for the entire game is all for nothing, because his bear is dead, and the items will get resummoned back once the bear gets resummoned. But that might be a little bit too late, because Sylar the Morphling is going to work on these melee barracks, on the melee barracks, and then the range barracks. And there goes one, so this lane for LGD is going to slowly push in all the time as the melee heroes get stronger and stronger. There goes the range racks. That means LGD has taken an even firmer hold of this game, and Zenith is looking to be in a lot of trouble. If you're new to the Dota, a good indicator of how teams are doing in relation to each other is just look at the towers. You see this top lane on the tier 2 top lane tower on LG is still alive. They do still have all their base towers, all their tier 3 towers are still up. Zenith, of course, missing this, and they do not have any tier 2 towers up. So if you just take a look at how many towers a team has, usually the one with more towers is doing a little bit better. Another indicator is you look at where the creeps are. You imagine an imaginary line. I actually could draw out that line right through the river. If the creeps are within this area right here, then usually the Dire team is on an advantage. If they're on the other side of the river, right here, then usually the Radiant team is on an advantage. And it's not like a one-for-one rule, but we might now see another fight. Fisher going off, trying to block off someone, but the Magic community is there. Ice is just going to get right-clicked down by Sylar. Holy shit, streak on him. Yao going to get entangled by the bear. Blink out with just barely any HP left. He does still have some poison on him. He's going to drop down his ultimate before dying, but Sylar is the one who's still alive, and Sylar is the real threat. Loda going to go Scepter out of there, try to make it out, but doesn't matter because Sylar is still there. The Hex on him. There's the GG call by HY. They don't want to play this game anymore. They know that they can no longer defend their Ancient, so they're just going to give up right now. Really, there's nothing that they could have done. LGD had a commanding lead in that game for pretty much most of it, actually. And look at that, 45 minutes on the dot. LGD takes this game between Zenith and LGD. This is from the Internationals preliminaries. And hopefully this has taught you a thing or two. For these videos especially, I would love comments, criticism, all that stuff. Tell me if it was actually helpful for you, so I could do another one. And if it wasn't, then, well, I'm not going to do any more. So thanks for watching, guys. GG.